YouTubers, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you may be receiving this transmission. It is I, your humble servant, Mike Martins, with trends in the housing market, broadcasting out of Merritt, British Columbia. And I would like to thank, before I even go there, I would like to wish everyone a happy new year. It is 2018, and I'm looking forward to first quarter results from the housing market. I am very, very looking forward to Q1, first week of April. I really hope that Better Dwelling comes up with a really good story, releasing the numbers or actually going to bat and figuring out what's happening with these Q1 numbers. Because I'm with these stress tests coming out, with all this stuff coming out, I'm really excited. And to be really frank with you guys, I've never been this excited before, to see how this change is going to, this change in the market that's going to happen. People are logging in. We won't have open lines tonight. We'll have open lines next week, I promise. No open lines tonight, guys, because we need, I got a lot of stories to cover real quick here. And time just flies when I'm doing this show, and I got a lot of stories from all over the world. It is fracturing all over the world. And it is, yes, Mr. Robot, no open lines tonight. We'll have open lines next week, I promise. I just have so much I got to go over today with you guys, with so much going on. I promise next week I will get open lines up and running for you guys, and we'll just do an open lines discussion. But it is the first week of January, and let's look at a recap of Actually, we're not even doing a recap of 2017. Screw that. We're actually looking at everything that's fracturing around the world in all the English-speaking countries, and and I got a lot of people here commenting here in the comment section. There's people commenting like crazy. So people, come on, log on to the live chat here, going on live. Let me know what you guys think of this 7 p.m. hour to start. I will get interrupted by my kids once in a while, so nobody freak out if you see a child in the background or a cat. Nobody freak out. It just happens here when you're at home. Everybody is talking now about the pop market. So yeah, I'll get to that a little bit later. I do a lot of pot videos, investments and stuff, and a lot of people asking questions about that. We will do. You know what? Maybe I'll do a show on Monday, because I'm not open on Mondays. My store is closed on Mondays. Maybe I could do a rants and lifestyle. We could discuss marijuana stocks for a whole hour or two and get people to call in and discuss what's happening with the market and what they feel is going to happen. We can do that for sure. But tonight, we need to discuss this housing market, because it's a global crisis right now. A lot of people waiting on the sidelines. And I'm still doing my introduction. We got a lot of work, a lot of things to get to here. People are asking, no, I closed my store on Mondays. I'm closed Mondays. Half the town, it's a small town. Everyone's closed on Mondays, right? So I need a day off with the family, so nobody freak out on that too. So first, I'd like to thank syndicates that are picking up and rebroadcasting the stuff I talk about and my material. I'm really happy that people deciphering and talking and using words like I say, like Canadian prop or Australian prop or blah blah blah. And I'm really happy with that. That it's the words getting out, and my channel's getting out there. And I've been receiving a lot of emails last couple of days. Someone's mentioning here. This says here, Mike, how come you never talk about your older son? I do. I make a lot of videos with him playing basketball and stuff. And he's a teenager, so my older son is always either playing basketball or working or doing his own thing, and I do see him from time to time, but you know what happens when you become a teenager, right? He's never around. That's how I was too. I was never home. Anyways, yeah, so people are commenting here. Okay, so let's continue here, guys. If you want to follow me or message me on Instagram, guys, it's easier. Just go to my Instagram page. There's a link on top of my YouTube channel. If you want to find me, please message me there. My fan page is in Portuguese and on Facebook, so it replies in Portuguese, auto reply. Get too many messages, don't freak out. And a quick shout out before we start here to Kelly from Melbourne, who watches my show, and Patrick from Ireland, who watches my show. Thanks for watching, guys. So let's continue. Okay, Metro Housing, Vancouver housing collapse. Metro Vancouver housing collapse. It's a Facebook page. You could join the group. My friend is running it. If you guys want to jump in the action on what's happening in Vancouver, please don't forget to check this Facebook page out. It's really good. It's really upbeat with a lot of articles and stuff. Please check it out. Let's move on to my man over at Form a Fist. This guy is really good. I really want to get this guy out there. I've been watching his videos on and off for the last year and a half maybe. I can't even remember when I started watching this guy, because we are in 2018. If you haven't checked out Form a Fist, it's all one word, network, please check it out. He's really good. He's really good at what he does. He's very good, really technical when it comes to numbers and graphs. I'm just more street talk and more kind of like, hey man, what are you doing, man? More like that, get to the point. Try and explain things as basic as possible. He gets into really good numbers and really good financials of what's going on. And this is a really good video. It's called Rich Chinese Immigrants Ruined Canada or Getting Ruined by Canada. Really good one. So let's move on here. Let's not forget The Lost Canuck. Really good. He did a video. He's really good on the out in the East Coast. The Lost Canuck in Barrie, Ontario. Watches this channel all the time. Don't forget to subscribe to him and watch what he's got going on and what he's discussing. He's always on beat, on the ball with things. And there's my pot investing. Quadrupled my investment. Don't forget to join me in my rants and lifestyle every day. I put up a couple of videos. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm very excited about that. And that's something we're going to talk about maybe on Monday. If I can get the show up on Monday, I will have no problem getting you guys in on calling in and discussing what's happening with the market, where people forecasted going, and stuff like that. Let's move on. Okay, so we're going to start off in Australia today because I missed it in the last show, and a lot of people got really mad at me in Australia. So we got Australia's housing market on track to cool in 2018 as prices fall in capital cities. So, like I said, you're going to see this huge drop in these major cities in English-speaking countries. Okay, someone's asking me, would I buy an investment property in Vancouver if the market collapsed? No. Investment properties are so much of a headache. What you pay in property tax. Let's say I buy a condo. What I pay in property tax, what I pay in strata fees, what I pay in this and all that crap and Mickey Mouse and putting up with tenants. You're better off investing it in a stock. I'd rather put it in a stock. Because at least, a good stock. Nothing too volatile, something safe. I would put it in stocks. I'd rather put money in stocks any day than an investment property. That's what I was about. I was always about putting money, because money is made in markets. Yes, it's a housing market. But if you're buying 90 properties in Vancouver, then we could have a discussion. But if you're not buying 90 of them, it's really not worth it. It's not worth the headaches. And what you pay in property tax and in condo strata fees, you could invest that money on a monthly basis in something incrementally. Some incremental business, you know what I'm saying? So people are logging on, saying hi to everybody here. But that was a really good question, Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot is here. He's my backup here once in a while. Anyways, now for the people down under. Figures show the national medium house prices fell 0.3 in December, weighed down by falls in Sydney and Darwin. Darwin's been pushing down Australia. If you haven't been to Darwin, look where it is on the map. It's in a really cool strategic location. and it's always hot there. So if you're looking for a tropical place to live in Australia, go to Darwin. You could plan your picnic 3 years in advance. I guarantee the weather would be good. Australia's property is showing signs of cooling with national home prices down in December quarter and conditions expected to remain softer throughout 2018. The National Medium Home Price Index fell 0.3 in December, weighed down by major falls in Sydney and Darwin, the modest weakness across Melbourne and Perth, figures from property data group CoreLogic shows. The fall contributed to an overall slowdown in national home value growth for the year, with prices rising 4.2 points in 2017 compared with 5.8% in 2016 and 9.2 in 2015. Okay, somebody's saying here, they are not, I have invested in property. It cash flows a lot. It's not true, wrong. Okay, that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. But, I mean, if you could have a go at it and make it work, yeah, sure, you know. Doing an investment property and yields way more than the stock market. Yeah, it depends on the person, right? What they yield. You know what I'm saying? I quadrupled my investment in stocks in a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. First 3 months it was slow because I picked up at a really low price. I made a few power moves, selling a few stocks and rebuying, and for me to grow as much as I did in the last 4 weeks, I mean, it's very situational. Like, I mean, I don't have to deal with people, basically. I don't mind dealing with people, but not when it comes to business like that. That's just my opinion. And other people are commenting, like, saying, I just like real estate. It's a solid foundation. I think stocks and crypto basic casino house. It's good, but if you, like I said, if you do your research, you will see what I'm talking about, researching specifics and finding out and reading sheets and quarterly returns and results and blah, blah, blah. The Harbor City dwelling prices retreated 0.9 for the month of December to be 2.1% lower over the quarter. The city's annual rate of growth is now tracking at just 3.1, a stark difference to the recent cyclical peak, and values were rising an annual rate of 7. Remember when in Australia, a majority of the major cities, they were having rates rise 17.1%, and 7 months ago it was that high. That's huge. You know what I'm saying? So let's move this up here. Now let's head to Sydney and Melbourne. Home prices fall. More declines tip for 2018. Everyone's seeing it. Everyone's reading through the cracks. Everyone's reading through the lines. You know what I'm saying? Everybody understands what's happening in Sydney and Melbourne. And it is a clear break what's happening across all the English-speaking countries. Sydney and Melbourne, home prices fell. National property markets ended in 2017 with a whimper, with half of Australia's capital cities recorded falling house prices in December. These declines are likely to continue over 2018 and 2019, with the research of Housing CoreLogic predicts falls of about 7% for Sydney and Melbourne. I'm going to be really frank with you guys. I think it's going to be more than 7%. I think it's going to be like 30-40%. And I'll tell you why. Because the average Australian cannot afford to buy a house even if it goes down 7%. It needs to go down more. The medium, this says right here, the median house price in Harbour City now is $1 million, with a median apartment of $774,000. A person with a six-figure income cannot afford to buy that. So people need to back off when I say a house should be roughly $300,000 to $400,000, because that's what it should be. Because that's what people could afford to buy. So someone's commenting here, you are not right about the investment property, my friend. Well, like I said, everybody has their own ways of... Like me, I'll tell you why an investment property won't work for me. It's because for me, this is my. I have my house. I bought my house. I own it free and clear. I bought this house, so I just bought it one time, one payment. The reason why for me is because sometimes I like to take vacations, and for the longest time I would take a 6-month or 5-month vacation. I'd travel around the world and do stuff, and I don't want to worry about having a house that if there's a problem or I need this and that, and then I have to hire somebody to watch my property for me and stuff like a property manager. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's just, it just doesn't, for me, it just, I don't know, the property taxes, this, that, all that. I don't know, guys. That's just me. I have my house. I own it, okay? I have my house, okay? It goes up 20%, 30%, great. It goes down to 0. I don't care. At least I have a place to live. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't buy this for financial gain. I bought this because I want a base. My base to start my home business, which I'm doing here, which is doing really well. I have the numbers up. I could show you guys in my last... Look at my video, Building a Business from Scratch. I actually go over the numbers with you guys and show you guys how much I've gained working from home and from my business. And this is my first 6 months in business. You know what I'm saying? So someone's asking me, what am I talking about? I'm talking about whether, for me, it's some people say if prices go down, it's a good way to invest your money in an investment property. But for me, I'm not game for it. I'm just into buying a house, period, and living in it, and then investing in other markets and finding different ventures to go into. So, Sydney's housing market has become the most significant drag on the headline with growth figures. So Melbourne also saw monthly declines of 0.2%. Its medium house price $832,000 with the medium apartment price of $574,000. So Melbourne, everything is going down. Look at that. Sydney, look at Darwin, bringing down the prices, bringing down the average overall prices. Look at Melbourne's dipping. Look at Perth. Perth has been in the pits for forever. Perth has been, forever. So... someone's commenting here. And everyone's commenting here. Okay, the comments keep going. Everyone's debating. We should do an entire show whether it's worth buying an investment property or is it worth buying different ventures or getting into different ventures. We will do a show about that and have people call in and discuss what they think about properties and if it's worth the headache. For me, like I said, it's for me, I like things. I like to do things and get myself into different venues, right? I like to go to shareholder meetings. It's the best, man. You fly in, stay in a hotel, go check out the shareholder meeting, eat some buffet, And someone's commenting, dude, you incorporate all those costs in your cash flow analysis. It should be cash flow positive. For sure. Of course it is. Very low because of my first 6 months in business. So people are talking about my business video I put up with numbers. And yes, I know I haven't. Someone says it's called the cash flow analysis. And I know that. My accountant does all that for me every year. Every year when I do my corporate tax, we do have to submit a cash flow analysis to the Canadian government with, I think, inventory sheet and other things like that. So let's continue, people. Balance tilts in Auckland housing market for the first time in 7 years. Hallelujah. For the people living in New Zealand, this is like... really good. This is really good. I'm really happy for what's happening here in Auckland. People are starving in Auckland. People are staying in hotels in Auckland. People are sleeping in the streets in Auckland. I've read articles of people in New Zealand sleeping 40 people to a house. It's like a kennel. The property market appears to be holding its breath ahead of major changes to lending. One economist says, new data out from industry's website released New Zealand show that Auckland's market is softening last month, and national new listings are the all-time low, indicating people are uncertain about selling their houses. Do you remember what New Zealand did? They're passing a law this year that basically they're not allowed, foreign investors are not allowed to buy in New Zealand. Yes, you heard it right. And you heard it here first on last week. And the website in Auckland became buyer's market. Based on inventory figures, it would now take 24 weeks to sell a house for sale in Auckland if no other listings were added to it, surpassing its long-term average of 23 weeks. Oh, man. However, sellers hadn't adjusted their prices expectations. The average asking price up 2.7% to $982 large. From November, Auckland saw new property valuations last year, which may be lending vendors to expect more than the market wants to pay. Vanessa Taylor, spokesperson for realestate.co.new Zealand, said, while new listings in Auckland were down 7.8% the previous year, total of number of listings or stock has swollen considerably. So everything's being thrown on the market. People are scared to what's going on, but New Zealand could breathe a sigh of relief with the amount of people sleeping rough and the amount of people that are homeless. It is phenomenal. And I want to send a shout out to Natasha from London, who's watching my show, and a shout out from Brooke from New Zealand, who's also watching. And thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And before we get to Ireland, I got a lot of questions here on the side. Do you make money at your store? Of course, I make money, and it's a good tax shelter, you know, expenses and stuff, and moving things around, and you know what I'm saying? It keeps me occupied, keeps me from sleeping all day. When I owned my old store when I was down in downtown Vancouver, I had a good staff. So what I do is I just sleep all the time. Literally, wake up, have breakfast, go back to sleep, watch a movie, take a nap, and that had to stop. You know what I'm saying? So people is here. Property, see everyone's situation is different. Do adjust launder how much you want every year and fave the union and blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's something else there. No cash flow positive for investment property, I mean. I don't know where that's coming from. No cash flow positive for investment property, I mean. Okay. Then someone says, foreign buyers cannot buy existing houses. They can still buy new houses. Okay, that's from Margaret O'Brien. I think she's down in New Zealand. She watches my show. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So if the house gets sold as a new property, then if it resells again, it can't be sold to another foreign investor. I get it. So this way they can shadow flip the house. That's really smart because shadow flipping has been going on for so long. Okay, shout out for me, living particularly next to your store. That's Teaspoon there. So if people, Teaspoon, if you want to comment below and tell people how busy my store is sometimes, I appreciate it. Because people think I'm there sleeping all day making videos, you know. Brian is commenting, yeah, I did get the cash flow comment. I didn't get his cash flow comment. Just making a joke because I'm on the blacker side of life. Yeah. Jay Jan, London property market's coming up. 2 stories down. Don't worry, guys. We're there. We're getting there. So, Irish Times. We have to head to Ireland first because what's been happening in Ireland is an actual absolute disgrace. If you guys have been following my show, Ireland's out of control. It's gotten so bad in Dublin that employers have to pay first and last month's rent and security deposit and all that other crap for employees because people moving to the big city can't afford to even get into the big city to start a high figure paying job. Could you go figure? You know what I'm saying? And people are saying bring on the GTA market. It's coming up soon, guys. Irish Times. Housing crisis must be solved to avoid another crash. States' passivity in addressing housing issues is economically and socially dangerous. So this is what's happening in Ireland, folks. Prices of increasing rapidly, rents well excess the mortgage repayment, and credit individuals wishing to buy is still severely restricted. The soon-to-be published National Planning Framework is using central statistics of office population estimated. They indicated that there will be a population increase of 1 million by the end of 2040. Okay, that's doable. On a conservative estimate, this will require Ireland to have 25,000 new houses units per annum up to 2040. Other commentators have recently doubled this estimate. So basically, Ireland is thinking they could build themselves out of this crisis. I think they are wrong. London's doing it. A lot of cities are doing it, where they think they could build themselves out of this market. They could raise the amount of units in the market by balancing out basically the cost of housing. By putting more on the market, it will cause a balance. But I don't think that would cause it. I think this is a big mistake, buying out, and that's the people in Ireland. Ireland's a little bit behind of the other English-speaking countries. They just got on the map recently with their price, with a lot of foreign investing going on in Ireland. So they just got hit on the map. So they're fresh to the scene in Ireland. So we'll be following Ireland in a time warp. So we'll be ahead in time in Vancouver and Australia and in New Zealand. We'll be ahead in time, but then you'll see Ireland falling behind and following all what we did, basically, in whatever way we have to solve this housing crisis that we've been building out of. It won't fix it. So stop building out of it. Yes, it creates construction jobs. Yes, it creates cash flow. Yes, it creates people to buy so they could rent them out and create negative cash flow. I'm just joking. Anyways, no, but I'm just saying, big mistake. And the Scotsmen down in Scotland, same idea. Scotland is behind. A lot of foreign investors arriving to Scotland now, hitting up Scotland for properties. Someone's commenting, I'm in New Zealand and the quality of housing is disgusting. Just cleaned the mound off the windowsills. Wow. I know there's a lot of crack houses or meth houses there. That homes need to be meth tested in New Zealand. It's really bad. It's the standard of living in New Zealand has gone downhill in the last 5 years. The cost of living has skyrocketed, but the standard of living has gone down. Someone else is commenting. Margaret is saying, I agree. Most houses in New Zealand are not properly insulated to have poor ventilation. Also, rented out homes are often poorly maintained, causes health problems. And then Mr. Robot saying, Brian, can you Google cash flow analysis if you don't understand it, bud? Negative cash flow. Anyways, okay, so people are talking in the housing in the comment section. I appreciate that very much. Let me take a sip of water here. I want to wet my beak as before we continue here, because this is some pretty good stuff. So you're going to see, I think, of all the countries right now that are on the front lines of fixing this problem, I think New Zealand comes first, followed by Canada second. Australia is doing sweet F all, and so is the United States, for putting measures into place to help protect the Australian proper and to help protect the American proper. So you're going to see parties going on. You're going to start seeing basically what happened in Vancouver 5-6 years ago start happening in the United States of America, and you're going to start seeing it happening in, well, Australia's been happening. Australia's been in the housing bull market for 1,000,000 years. So there it's been, you've been bought out of the market since you were born. If you were born in 1978 or before, you're bought out of 1978 or after, you're bought out of the market in Australia. Just so you know. Just some tit for tat. And someone's asking me, can I discuss the effects on Airbnb has been on the rental market. I have many times in many shows. I will in another show coming up, I promise. I've actually had, was it 2 weeks ago? Go back to 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks ago, Trends in the Housing Market, where they found hidden cameras and Airbnb rentals, hidden video surveillance cameras, people filming people in their home or rental home. Woo! Anyways, lots of comments coming through, guys. Don't forget to join this chat. I'm going to start at 7 p.m. Tijuana time, just for you guys to know. 7 p.m. Tijuana time, Los Angeles time, Vancouver time. That gives you 10 p.m. in Ontario, so people could be awake watching in New York and other cities. And let's continue here. Land reform essential, solving housing shortage in Scotland. So again, Scotland's following what Ireland's doing in the same thing, building out of the market. This dysfunctional land market lies in the heart of Scotland's housing shortage. Again, it's a housing shortage when it's not, and presents a barrier to building affordable homes. A discussion paper from the Scottish Land Commission has suggested. It argues the public sector should intervene to improve the operation of the market and increase the supply of land for new housing. So last time I checked, the death rate is higher in Scotland than it is than the birth rate. I don't think I'm right, but I'm thinking it's close. Why would they need more housing? Foreign investors are coming in. So they're coming into Scotland and they're coming into Ireland right now. That's the new hub right now. Everyone thought they were going to go up to Montreal, and I'm like, no one's going to go to Montreal. Believe me, they're not going to Montreal. Okay. Levels of homeownership have simultaneously been falling for a decade, while nearly 150,000 people are waiting for social housing. See, that's different. With bold action, pressures of population growth and demographic changes will only add Scotland's housing problems. Okay, let's take a step back to a few shows. Step back. 150,000 people are waiting for social housing. Why don't they create, and I said this before, why don't they create 150,000 jobs that pay well, in turn bringing the money back into the system, and the government could tax your wages that you make from your good pay, so people don't need social housing and they could just buy their house or rent without a problem. I don't know if you remember that show when I was going crazy, freaking out about that. Why would you create 150,000 social housing when you create 150,000 jobs the government could actually profit from? If somebody wants to, fill me in on this, because if you did that, it would increase the economy, it would increase export, increase GDP. If you get 150,000, two people living per house, that's 300,000 people. Those 300,000 people working, doing who knows what, making tires, I don't know, canned goods, dog food. Make dog food. Nobody wants to buy dog food from China. I'd rather buy dog food from Scotland. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. They're not looking at the big picture and saying, hey, if we get these people working, we don't need the social housing. Or low income housing is okay. Oh yeah, my job doesn't pay that much. They help me with the rent, but I do work. You know what I'm saying? That's okay, because that helps grow the GDP. You know what I'm saying? So people are commenting here. Airbnb, just a hotel with no regulations and taxes, should be limited to owner-occupied properties who have spare capacity. Yeah, I see that. But someone's commenting on my video here. Oh no, it's this one, guys. This is nuts. It's a video here. It's not even mine. The world is flat. And there's a big fight going on here with flat earthers. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to waste my time with that. "2018 might just be the year to buy a home." Okay. This is Vice Money. Where's Vice Money out of? Oh, Canada's. Guys, we arrived in Canada. Let me see here. Oh, let's go back to London real quick, and then we'll go back to... Never mind. I clicked on the wrong thing. Guys, I found this. It's really good. It was sent to me. I want to share this. Nobody panic, okay? Nobody freak out. Yeah, I'll read that article later. Unofficial Canadian Mortgage Stress Test Calculator 2018. Guys, please check this out. This is what it looks like. It's a live page. You can enter your numbers here. It asks you for the home price, transfer tax, legal fees, home inspection fee, down payment, CMHC insurance, heating costs, condo fees, property taxes, interest rate, amortization, payment frequency, student loans, credit cards, lines of credit, other loans, ratio, stress test. Guys, fill this out if you're looking to buy into the market. Fill this out if you're looking to sell and rebuy. I really recommend this link. It was sent to me, and I think it is very workable. I think this has a lot of good potential to help you. It's a good tool. There's a lot of good tools out there. People, don't panic. Use them. Educate yourself. All this information is out there for you guys to take. You know what I'm saying? So the comments are going through. So let's move over. So guys, please, Unofficial Canadian Mortgage Stress Test Calculator 2018. It's a good tool. It's here for you. It's free. You don't need to call anyone for advice. Look at it yourself and look at what you could afford. Always spend within your means. Don't go nuts, because then, you know what I mean. Okay. Prime Central London prices close to bottoming out. Listen to me, I say. It's bottoming out. Prices in Southwest City dropped to 4.2% in 2017. Oh, London, London, London. London housing falling down, my fair lady. After 3 years of falling prices, signs finally point toward the bottoming out of prime central London housing values. But prices in outer prime London markets, especially those in southwest of the city, are next to a line to feel the pressure, according to a report Tuesday by UK property expert Savilles. Now, people, you guys need to understand something. Markets collapse within hours and days. Markets. But economies take a long time to sink. Now, when the housing market is tied heavily to the economy, guess what happened? It does take a while for it to sink because it's too heavily dependent on keeping the country afloat, you know? For the first time since June 2012, prices in prime southwest London fell further than those in prime central London, report said. The values of the capital's priciest central locations fell 0.9% in the last quarter in 2017, but for a 4-year decrease of 4%, though values are on average 15.9% below their 2014 peak. So London went through this whole housing thing way back, and now it's been bottoming out now, and it's been a couple of years I've been following this market. It's been bottoming out. And, you know, the mass exodus of people leaving London to move to Newcastle, to move to Manchester, to move to Glastonbury, to move anywhere else, to Stonehenge, anywhere, it's happening. The rate of decrease slowed. The values are now leveling, the report said. In prime London, southwest London, the area encompassing the neighborhoods of Battersea, Clapham, Wandsworth, Fulham, Barnes, and Richmond, values fell an average of 1.6% in the last 3 months in 2017, a total of 4.2% for the year, making it London's weakest prime market segment, according to Savilles. So this is not good for London. We expect continued weakness in price performance in key outer prime London markets and are forecasting small falls this year. These markets are much more dependent on domestic wealth generated and access to borrowing than prime central London, Mr. Cook said. As such, Our forecasts are for much more modest house price growth over the next 5 years. So guys, I want to know what you guys think. This is from the Mansion Global from London, and housing in London has been in a massive decline. It's been out of control. It has been spiraling out of control. Let's move on. Again, London house prices, south of Wales, west to see big dip drops. I like the colors on these homes, eh? Same thing, same article, different text, different pictures, same idea. And with London thinking it could build itself out of this housing crisis by putting more homes in the market, I think is ludicrous because of the mass exodus of people leaving London. Also, in just all these abandoned properties across London. Just the English proper, or the British proper, or the UK proper, whatever you want to call them, they're all leaving and moving to other cities to make life, So people are commenting here. Yep, it's me. And a lot of people here commenting in the comments section. Really good. London, watch out. It's been, like I said, and I'll say this one more time, and it's really simple. Markets collapse within days, but economies take a long time to sink. And when economy takes long to sink, and the housing market is taking forever to crash, it's because they tied the housing market to the economy to back its economy, or to support its economy, if that makes sense to you guys. I hope it does, because it's very important. And because there's no more consumer spending as there was. Consumer spending in 2004 is a lot more than it is in the last couple of years, or 2005 or 2006. It's a lot more than the last couple of years. Consumer spending is important because it helps prop up our economies, right? And the mistake was we sold all our jobs off to China. But if we bought, if consumer spending continued with all the stuff being made in Canada and the U.S. and Australia being made locally, that would keep other people in working and stuff. But instead, it kept the cash cows in China making a lot of money and getting rich real fast. And a lot of investors are coming to buy us out now. And that's what's happened. So plain and simple. And you're going to see a lot of these big box stores closing. And it's not too concerning with the big box stores closing. It's concerning is when it starts to spread into other industries. It is very scary. Once the big box stores start closing, other industries will get a huge backlash, and that's when we start to worry, like really start to worry. And someone says, it says the velocity of money is at its lowest it's ever been. For sure it has, because you know why? People made more money in the 1970s and 80s than we make today because of buying power. Buying power has changed a lot. And the buying power has made it so we think we're making more money, but in reality, we're not buying as much as we used to back in the day. So our parents made more money than we did. Why? Because they could afford to pay their houses off in 5 years, making $2 an hour. So how do you figure that with 17% interest rates? Yeah, 14, 17% interest rates my parents were paying, making $2 an hour. And they paid off their house in 5 years. Anyways, everyone's commenting here. And then someone's commenting, once we see Canadian malls start to close, people will finally wake up. But you see, the problem with that is other industries will get affected. We already got affected by losing our jobs that made these products that we bought. A lot of people are forgetting that in 1910, 1 out of 3 things on the planet was made in America. In 1910, whenever you bought something, you bought a hose for your car, a radiator hose. You bought this glass. You bought a camera. You bought a car. You bought anything. 1 out of 3 things was made in America. And everyone's talking about, they need to get Detroit back, making cars and stuff. That's great. They can make the cars. But the problem is they're only assembling them. They're not making the bumpers. They're not making the tires anymore. They're not making the dashboard. They're not making the electronics. They're not making the radios. Everything's being made somewhere else and fabricated in America. If Detroit wants to come back and become the steel wheels again like they were in the 40s and 50s and 60s, everything needs to be made in America to make it worthwhile, because then you're buying your seat belts, you're buying your seats, you're buying everything that has. So that's what's going on, and that's very important. Assembling things is great, but I think fabricating and making them in your own country increases your GDP, increases your wealth, increases everything around you, and your standard of life goes up, and you don't have to make 150,000 social houses for social housing. Someone said, made in the USA used to mean quality. 1 out of 3 things was made in America in 1910. 1 out of 3 things. Now, you're lucky if it's 1 in a million you find. Oh, look, this is made in America. Look what I found. So, London prices, same article. Dipping, same article. I want to keep you guys informed with that. USA Today. What is happening in good old Trump land? Hot housing market could cool in 2018. Using real estate to secure your financial future isn't for the faint of heart, but if done right, it has a lot to offer. USA Today. This is probably backed by your local real estate agent. Supported. For several years, home sellers have had the upper hand as they haggled with buyers over price. In 2018, it might seem a little bit more of a fair fight. See, the USA didn't have a lot of auctions. They did in Seattle, they did in Oregon, Portland, they did in California, but America proper, like in the middle of America, Jesus land, they still didn't have a lot of bidding and house wars and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? For several years, home sellers have the upper hand. The nation's hot housing market could cool off next year as rising costs and tax law changes discourage some buyers, even as more as homeowners put their homes up for sale. The shift in bragging power won't be dramatic. Many sizzling housing markets on the West and East Coast will continue to see solidly rising prices, economists say. Yet, the piece of the run-up will likely slow the market, has long favored sellers even out of somewhat. Let me tell you what you guys... let's read this part right here. If forecaster bears out, it would mark the first year of flat or falling home sales since the housing crash 11 years ago. Now, let me tell you guys what I think is going to happen in America. Right now, Seattle is the new Vancouver, Canada, and the new Sydney and Melbourne. Because right now in Seattle, the housing prices are just out of control. And they're not putting any measures in place because they say it's against their constitution to ban foreigners from buying, or not even that, to put foreign buyers tax or to ban speculators from buying in the markets, right? So, in all fairness, what's happened with that is those cities are so expensive that people are moving into the interior of the United States, moving east into Jesus land. And now, Portland, Oregon is the same thing. People moved from California to Oregon because they couldn't afford to live in California. In Silicon Valley, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, the cost of living is through the roof. The standard of living is going down. And with the amount of boarded up homes owned by investors and stuff, people are migrating now east. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to see a huge buyout from east of the United States, from California, all the way across to Florida. It's going to take anywhere from 5 to 8 years if the United States of America does not protect their American proper from foreign speculators to come in and buy up their market. America would be completely bought out in about 5 years' time if they don't put any housing stipulations into place. So that's just what I think. And hopefully I'm wrong. And hopefully things get straightened out. You know what I'm saying? So someone's saying, I call lies. I'm just joking, by the way. Mostly all lies. Elite protect their own wealth. That's what we are told. And then it says, the UN is screwing menace their human rights board filled with the biggest abusers of human rights. There is a joke and should be defunded by the EU. And then someone saying, we are poor, accepted, no unity. And that comment section is on fire right now. So that's what I think is going to happen in the United States of America. I also see Texas wanting to secede from the Union. Texas, the Lone Star State in the United States. I can see Texas wanting to separate from the United States. More houses available. This is a really good article from USA Today, guys, but it's 1 million pages long. It gets into some graphs here, which is really good. I recommend you guys check it out. Oh, there's a little cartoon you can watch here, too. And let's move on. Okay, everyone. British Columbia. Weak sales cause an average of 2017 price of Vancouver detached homes to tumble 6.5%. That's a lot, guys. 6.5% is a lot. So if it's $1 million, you're out 65 large. It's a lot of money, guys. If your house is $2 million like the average price, you're out 120 large. With the 2017 behind us for the first time in a decade, so may be some of the highest housing prices. Real estate agent industry blogger Steve Saretsky, he's a good guy too. Steve Saretsky's really good. Watch his channel. Says the average price of a detached home in Vancouver fell 6.5% last year. Most of the price movement was at higher end of the market, he said in this article, Vancouver Real Estate Review in 2017. Saretsky says single-family home sales have been soft for about 18 months because everyone's jumping on the cheaper products like townhomes and condos. Overseas money coming into Vancouver real estate market has dropped off significantly, he said, as well as has been the implementation of foreign buyers tax and new mortgage rules. I think the impact is obviously pretty noticeable, said Saretsky. All of this, he said, has many people opting to put their money in smaller investments like condominiums. Smaller, cheaper product, like I said. See, this guy's on the ball. He knows what he's talking about here. Listen to this guy. All of this, he said that many people are opting to put their money in small... Okay, I just read that, sorry. As a result, he said the condo market is an opposite situation with inventory levels going down and prices going up. Saretsky feels it's a good time for people who want to climb on the property ladder. If you're looking to jump from a condo to a single-family house, the price gap has never been this narrow. And that's a good choice, people. If you're in a condo paying strata fees, Mickey Mouse fees, mafia fees, all this crap, if you want to maybe get into a detached home. Get yourself a nice little home with a white picket fence and, something, some of the good places and, sorry guys, I'm falling asleep. Okay, this says 2017 Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver reports that sales were steady and listings diminished for more historically normal levels in the housing sectors. The detached home market operated in a more balanced state, giving homebuyers more selection to choosing from and more time to make decisions, said RGEVB President Jill. In 2017, there were 2,434 single-family homes for sale in Vancouver. The lowest was 2,281 since 2008. We fell off the peak of 3,946 in sales in 2015. The UBC Sauder School of Business real estate expert Tom Davidoff says it's hard to know, especially in the market like Vancouver, where prices and sales will be a year from now. So a lot of people are predicting a crash. A lot of people are predicting a soft landing. A lot of people are predicting, let's see here. The price is too big for detached, though, the difference from a condo. So Buddy Sani here is commenting, the price is too big for a detached, though. The difference from a condo. In Vancouver, it's not in most cases, but in Toronto, it is. Toronto condos are pretty high. No, they're there, but the detached market in Toronto is... We'll get to Toronto right now, actually. I can't wait till first quarter, guys. I can't wait till first quarter numbers are here in April. First week of April, I want to see the first quarter numbers for 2018 and see what happened with all this stress tests and all that's going on. I really hope Better Dwelling could come forward with an article to actually get us talking about it and really get what's going on. So somebody's commenting here, the teaspoon, the immigrants often laugh at the Canadian proper, wondering how we can be nowhere after living here all our lives. It's because the standard and the cost of living is just way too high. The cost of living is way too high, and the wages have been stagnant for the last 40 years pretty much. You're making more, but everything costs way more than it was back in the day. Like I said, my parents paid off their house in 5 years at 16% interest, making $2 an hour. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that we make a lot less. I'd rather make $2 an hour and have everything the same price as they were back in the day, buy a car for friggin' $1,300, a new car from the dealer, things like that. But those days are gone. And we've been slaves to the bank. They are assimilating us. They will never be assimilated. People speaking the truth here, and it's like I did a video on that. You guys got to see my channel, my YouTube channel, where it's Rants and Lifestyle, how Canada is relaxing the English language for people to come in. And yeah, I think there's a lot of number fudging that's going on because Canada closed immigration to Europe back in the late 90s. Because there was there's about 90 to 100,000 people immigrating from Ireland, not immigrating, but applying for citizenship to come to Canada. And I think only 3 or 4 applications were approved of the 100 and something thousand. That's what I heard through the grapevine. And the amount of people that applied from, I think, Australia was these huge numbers of people wanting to come to Canada. And they got temporary work visas, but a lot of people wouldn't get anything else. So the problem is only very few were selected to come in, and that's the sad part. It's basically who's got the money comes in, and that's what it's looking like right now. And it's sad, but that's what's happening. We're completely bought out of the market. Yes, someone's commenting. Yes, my great video on the language thing and citizenship. I don't believe that. In New Zealand, I think the children of immigrants are fundamentally different from their parents, and they return home. They usually come back to New Zealand as that is a home. So everyone has different strokes for different folks, right? And let's move on here. Weak sales. Oof. Global housing markets are slowing sharply. Is Canada next? Oh my God, did these people just figure this out? Oh my God. Canada next. Dude, these guys are so, wow. Let me just wet my beak here. Okay. Global housing market are slowing sharply as Canada's next. Oh my God, these guys just figured this. I can't believe these guys, wow, they got it. I guess everyone now is jumping on the housing market discussion now. I guess the mainstream media needs to be in it now so they don't look bad. You know what I'm saying? Housing markets around the world are showing signs of losing steam, but Canada's market isn't among them yet. Really? This is news? The Great White North is still clocking in some of the world's fastest house price growth. Through that is likely to come to an end in the first half of this year amid tough new mortgage rules and higher interest rates, according to data released this week by Global Property Guide. Really? Global Property Guide? A sight for residential real estate investors. Canada saw the world's fourth fastest property price growth in the quarter of 2017, behind only Iceland, Hong Kong, and Macau. So there's Iceland, Hong Kong, Macau, Canada, Romania. So a lot of people moved to Romania. I just want to let you guys know, a lot of people left parts of Europe to move back to Romanians moved back to Romania. Ireland, and Scotland has huge waves of speculators coming in. A lot of people moving back to the Philippines. My wife wants to get a house there, vacation home, and I don't have a problem with that. You could buy a good house in the Philippines where she's from for like 20 grand, like a big house with land and stuff like that. And the percentage in real inflation-adjusted housing prices from the third quarter in 2016 to the third in 2017. But prices in a majority of housing markets surveyed by the GBG have either turned negative or slowed down. In the UK, Beijing, Singapore, Mexico are among the places now seeing falling housing prices. Globally, housing markets are slowing sharply, GBG said in a release on Tuesday. So, of 47 housing markets surveyed, 21 recorded lower housing prices in the third quarter of 2017 than a year earlier. That's notable change from previous quarter when only 15 countries were showing a year-on-year declines. Two-thirds of housing markets surveyed show the momentum of either lower prices or slower price growth than earlier. Once hot New Zealand is now barely eking out any price growth at all. So here we go. Dropping Egypt, war. Ukraine, I think Ukraine's in war too. Russia, going to war. Mongolia, I think they're not at war, but okay. Mongolia, Qatar, United Emirates, Macedonia, Greece, Mexico, and Brazil. Stupid thing keeps opening. Percentage change of real inflation-adjusted housing prices from third quarter of 2016 in the third quarter of 2017. Meanwhile, Canada is the middle of the house price boom, the report noted. That's despite the introduction of foreign buyers tax from the Toronto and Vancouver housing markets, as well as other measures in Ontario's Fair Housing Plan designed to cool house price growth. Recent data suggests that while the detached home price markets in these cities have slowed down, condos are still seeing a strong price growth. For instance, Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver reported on Wednesday that the benchmark condo price Metro soared nearly 26% in the past year, while detached home prices grew a slower 7.9%. Canada's housing markets are moving into 2018 facing a perfect storm of conditions that could put a damper on activity to add the country to list of places where residential property is slowing down. So guys, that's it in a nutshell. I'm not going to watch anymore. I'm not going to read this anymore. You guys already know what's going on if you've been following my channel. This has been happening in Canada for a long time. Declines have been happening in the last 6 months to the last year. After that foreign buyers tax was thrown into Vancouver, then the tsunami of investors went east to Toronto. And a lot of them went south to Seattle. And the ones that went to Seattle, south, were the smart ones, because the tech centers and all these places there that were basically... that's the smartest place to be. So people are commenting here. So lots and lots of comments going through. Let's check out what Better Dwelling has, guys. Let's see what Better Dwelling's got up. Forgot to check them. Bank of Canada growing share of mortgages. Share of mortgages taking place outside of regulation. So this is what Bank of Canada is saying. So they're going outside the box again. to bend the rules to allow people to buy. Look at this. Canadian real estate buyers are increasingly turning into non-regulated lenders, according to the Bank of Canada. Next one. Reverse mortgage debt on Canadian real estate is rising $1.25 per second. Reverse mortgages. Canadian real estate debt problems are growing as seniors increasingly turn to reverse mortgages to make up the gap between their home equity and retirement savings. Remember what I told you guys? People are going into retirement now, okay, with a mortgage. 30 years ago, that was unheard. That was impossible. Like, how the hell can you not pay your house off? But now, yes, people are going into retirement with the mortgage. And now these reverse mortgages are to help. This week's top stories. Canada's Parliament projects housing drag economy to 2022. And foreign buyers reduce affordable housing. Foreign buyers are scooping up affordable Toronto and Vancouver real estate, and Parliament warns higher interest rates will stagnate housing for at least 5 years. Parliament projects Canada real estate will drag the economy until at least 2022. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. Markets collapse in a few days, but economies take longer to sink because we have our housing market tied to our economy. When you have the housing market tied to the economy, it takes a lot longer to sink or crash because it's so dependent on keeping our economy alive. Let's continue here. The thing is, a lot of people jumped on this housing bandwagon and because they felt that things were going to be good for them. It's a good thing, right? And the market back, a year, 2 years ago was going up. It was going up like 20%, 15% on any given odd year, and numbers were just through the roof. And people started borrowing within their equity, and this is a very dangerous business a lot of people got themselves into, and it's not good. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad mistake a lot of people did, and now they're hoping that interest rates won't go up anymore, and hoping that they could make ends meet. Hopefully the housing prices will bounce back, right? So let's see what happens. Let's keep going here. Canadian real estate slowdown from higher interest rates is real. The Parliament is projecting it will slow GDP growth until at least 2022. Our GDP should be more tied into not housing and student loans and unsecured debt. Our GDP should be tied to exporting, fabrication, electric cars, solar power, selling power to our neighbors. There should be other ways that we should grow our GDP and not be so dependent on housing. And then this is the problem. Toronto condo prices continue to see growth slide. Toronto real estate is still cooling down from a great panic buying in early 2017, and the condo market is no exception. Foreign buyers apply pressure to affordable housing in Toronto and Vancouver. A lot of people made a lot of smart points the other day, 2 weeks ago on the show. They made a lot of smart points. They were saying, but who's to stop the rich investors from scooping up all the properties when they do crash or they do dip? Who's to stop them from picking up 5, 6, 10, 20 properties as opposed to buying 2? You know what I'm saying? Oh. God, I gotta wake up. Oh. In New Zealand, most foreign buyers remortgage their houses with New Zealand banks. And so people are looking here. Lots of comments here in the comment section, guys. So once again, I want to send a shout out to Rex from Detroit, Lena from Toronto, and Davey from Newcastle who's watching. I want to thank you guys for watching. Reverse mortgage rates, I read that one. Let's get out of better dwelling. And let's move to our last article here. 2018 might just be the year to buy a home. Canada's new mortgage rules guaranteed further slowdown market. Canada's real estate market is bound to take a hit this year thanks to the government's new mortgage rules that took effect in January 1st. The rules aimed at making sure Canadians can afford to meet their monthly mortgage payments if interest rates rise, will initially make it harder for buyers to qualify for an uninsured mortgage. Buyers who are making down payments of more than 20% on a home do not need mortgage insurance. So 20% is high. So if the house is $1 million, you got to put down $200 large. That's pretty big, guys. If this is in Kansas City, 20% on a home is probably going to be $40,000. So like a $200,000 home in Kansas City will cost you that much, right? So it's a lot of money, to put down. They will now have their income stress test mortgages. This will impact roughly 10 to 12% of mortgages, so you're not going to see a further slowdown in the market, said CIBC's deputy chief economist. Canada's real estate market saw a slight slowdown in 2017, primarily because of the falling home prices in Toronto after the Ontario government's 15% tax on foreign buyers took effect last April. That decline, says Tal, is set to continue simply because fewer Canadians will be able to qualify for a mortgage with these new rules in place. So this is going to make it a lot harder for Canadian property to buy because they're not speculating. They want to buy. A lot of people want to buy homes to live in. And there's a lot of people commenting here in the comments section. Okay, so everybody knows about the stress tests. Okay, let's see what this says. A 2018 housing forecast from realty firm Remax predicts that prices in the Greater Toronto area will remain relatively flat on average, rising 2.5%. I think you'll see more people compromising on the size of their homes, shifting from homes to high-rise. One way or the other, the market will slow down, said Tal. So I really need a Better Dwelling to weigh in on some of these articles and counter them. They've countered a few articles already. I really like what they're doing. They're a Better Dwelling. I recommend that you guys go to their page and like it and subscribe to their newsletter. It's really good. The chicks, love that page, dude. Anyways, guys, I'm tired. I know it's only 8 o'clock here, my time. And I'm tired. It's been a long day. Very busy at the shop. And shop's doing well. A lot of people that played board games over the holidays that they bought at my store, which were a lot of games I sold, liked it. Liked the games they played with their friends, and they're coming to buy more off me, and it's just crazy. eBay is crazy. eBay, I'm shipping 5 to 10 things every single day. It's been super busy. So I'm keeping myself busy. Stock market's keeping me super busy in the mornings when I wake up. Yeah, everything's doing fine, peachy keen. And I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to put this video, get this out there, share it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, guys. And I am selling ad space at the bottom. If you look at the bottom of my little thing there, it says your ad here. All donations go to the women's shelter that I have been donating money to for the last 10 years. Women's battered shelter. If people want to donate to some ad space on my channel, I'd be more than happy to do that. And like I said, proceeds go to a good cause, and it's handed to them personally. It's not no Mickey Mouse funneled through some corporation. And someone's asking me if I day trade. No, I just buy stocks. I hold on to them. I watch them. I hold on to them, watch them, and hold on and sell. I never sell at a loss. I always hold them and just wait, I've been doing very well with the stocks in the last probably 10 years of my life. It's purchased a lot of things for me, big items that I normally wouldn't, I wouldn't finance, right? So, anyways, someone's asking me if I'm open tomorrow. I am sure open tomorrow. Come down. Um, People are talking about different marijuana stocks they're going to buy. Um, I was looking at cannabis wheaten, guys. So remember, I don't have a license. I'm not an investor. I don't know nothing. But a cannabis wheaten is what I've been looking at. I bought a lot in cannabis wheaten, and I just sold recently. And I diversified it back in other weed stocks. So the portfolio is growing very substantially. And so, anyways, guys, I want to know what you guys think. I really appreciate it. Get this out there, guys, please. And if you want to sponsor with some ads below my show, all proceeds go to the women's shelter. Again, thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year to everyone. And big hug. And maybe I'll do a show on Monday and we do call-ins. Do call-ins, buddies. I'm going to do call-ins for you guys and get people calling into the show so we can know what people could call in and voice their opinion on what's going on with the stock market and their stocks, what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on. Yeah, Bitcoin, all this Bitcoin. Oh, my God. Anyways, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.